Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's presentation. My name is Michael Corgiat, and I am one of the retirement-focused advisors here at the Retirement Group. Welcome. I look forward to today's presentation. We at the Retirement Group offer a number of resources like these on-demand webinars, which we record all of them, so we keep a library of them on our YouTube page, as well as our website, theretirementgroup.com. We offer a number of other great resources. Those include our on-demand blog as well as our newsletter. We also maintain an ebooks library filled with books on all sorts of great subjects. You can request a retirement guide that we have put together for your specific employer. All you have to do is reach out to the office, and I'll give you our email and our number later in the presentation. And then finally, take advantage of putting together a plan. We offer a complimentary service. We call it our cash flow analysis, or I like to call it our retire kit. It's a comprehensive snapshot of what your current retirement situation looks like and where you could be, whether it's a month from now, a year, or 5 years from now. It'll give you a really good idea if you're on the right path. Planning, and the sooner you start planning, and the better off you're going to be. But planning essentially is very important, and unfortunately not enough people do enough of it. And unfortunately for many, they've never done a plan, and unfortunately they might get tapped on the shoulder by their employer with a potential surplus or a layoff, and they just don't know where they stand. So please reach out to our office. We'd be happy to put a cash flow analysis together for you. So let's go ahead and dive into today's presentation. Again, I mentioned my name is Michael Corgiat. I'm one member of a big team of advisors here at the Retirement Group. We offer a lot of knowledge on your savings, your pension, your medical programs, many of the benefit programs that all of your employers offer. And we do work with a lot of different employers: AT&T, Caterpillar, Boeing, ExxonMobil, Chevron, GlaxoSmithKline, Merck, Pfizer, just to name a few. So again, this presentation is a general presentation, but we do offer specific webinars to your employer as well. You just need to check out our web page as well as our YouTube page, and please scan this QR code. This QR code will take you to our LinkedIn page. There we have a number of resources, including the calendar for all of our future webinars for your specific company. Definitely check that out. We've got offices nationwide, a lot of experience, and we offer, as I mentioned, the complimentary financial analysis, so definitely take advantage of that. All right, the retirement planning checklist. This is where I want to get started. These 5 factors really are all important. You can't just discount any one of them. You need to consider and worry about all of them. Now, first and foremost, are you comfortable and emotionally ready for the idea that you're going to potentially retire sometime soon? That's the one that you have to get your arms around. We can't do that. We can provide you with all of the necessary information. I like to call it the nuts and bolts of whether your retirement is going to work out well for you. But you need to feel good about it. We can help decrease the overall risk and volatility that's equated with your retirement portfolio. That's what we do for a living here at the Retirement Group. We manage retirement assets for our clients, and we use the Charles Schwab investment platform to do so. We certainly can help you maximize your retirement income from all sources while trying to minimize or decrease any potential taxes and or penalties, even if you're earlier or you're younger than the age of 59 and a half. And then finally, any financial advisor that you work with, you're going to develop an investment philosophy with that advisor that makes sense to you and your family and your situation. Everyone's situation is unique, and that investment philosophy will go a long way to making you feel comfortable about your upcoming and long-term retirement. To understand some of the key changes in retirement planning, and these are just a few, but these are a few that we're going to touch on here today. First, you got to understand your pension. Real estate does have an impact on people's retirements now. I'll touch on that here momentarily. Inflation, a huge deal the last couple of years. Inflation has gotten out of control. The Federal Reserve is raising interest rates. Inflation is beginning to come down. I know I like to say I don't even enjoy going to the grocery store anymore because it seems like everything at the grocery store costs at least $5. So planning for inflation is important as well. And then just avoiding mistakes. Get an investment team, and we at the retirement group do have, and we all work together as a team. So the traditional sources of funds for retirement. This used to be a three-legged stool, but we've expanded it to add real estate as a fourth leg to a retirement planning stool. First, Social Security. For most of us, we can count on it. Know what your Social Security benefits are. For early retirement, full retirement, and maximum retirement, big part of anybody's plan. It's not the only part, but it is a big part, so understand your benefits. I want to recommend that you go to ssa.gov and register for what's called My Account. There you can get the snapshot of what all your Social Security benefits could be for both retirement as well as death and disability. A pension, for the most part, most of the people we talk to do have some sort of pension, which is another big source of your retirement funds. Understand your pension options. Do you have a lump sum? What are your joint and survivor benefit options? If you have a spouse that you want to take care of, we can help you with that as well. Thirdly, 401k and other savings. What you do for yourself, the savings that you do for yourself, is an extremely important part of your overall retirement plan. I like to say what you do for yourself is the difference between having an average retirement and an exceptional retirement. So are you maximizing your 401k? Do you have a Roth or regular IRA? Do you have other, either after-tax or tax-deferred savings? What are those sources? The more buckets of money that you've got available for retirement, the better off you're going to be. And we look forward to talking to you about that. So those are the four-legged stool, the sources of funds for retirement. So now let's talk about the different changes that we need to consider. Okay, do you understand your pension? I mentioned for many of you, you do have a lump sum option, and you've got several different annuity options that are available to you. Do you understand the impact that interest rates will have on your lump sum value? It's been a big deal last year versus the previous couple of years. In 2020 and 2021, interest rates were much lower because the Federal Reserve had lowered them significantly because of COVID. Interest rates began to go up significantly last year, and in 2021 and 2022, and so now interest rates have gone up significantly, and they have definitely impacted lump sum values significantly. And in some cases, with some of the employers that we work with, the difference between retiring in 22 versus 21, the lump sum values could be lower by as much as 30%. We retired a lot of folks from companies like AT&T, Boeing, and Exxon and Chevron, where these interest rates had a significant impact on their lump sum values. And again, this is just the lump sum pension. Annuities are factored differently and really aren't impacted by interest rates, but the lump sums were. And we saw significant differences. A lot of folks left last year, really weren't intending to retire, but they wanted to maximize their pension values, take those funds and roll them into an IRA, and then go out and find another job. And here's an example of what those interest rates can do to the value of a lump sum. Essentially, a 1% increase in the overall interest rates can reduce a lump sum value by anywhere from 8 to 12%, depending on your age. And I mentioned rates went up significantly last year, and here is an example of what we call the 3 segmented interest rates, which go into many lump sum calculations. Look back from December of 21 to December of 22 and how significantly those rates went up. All 3 of them up more than 1%. In some cases, up as much as 3%. So again, this is what equated to a 20 to 30% reduction in lump sum values for many of folks of you who were impacted by these interest rates and decided to, hey, it makes more sense for me to leave my employer now, meaning in 22, versus waiting, and I'm just going to go ahead and continue to work through 23 and beyond. I don't know how long these rates are going to stay this high. I believe they're going to be up at these levels for at least a year or two, possibly more. So for the folks that decided to stay, they're probably going to be staying for 2, 3, 4 years. So keep that in mind. Change number 2, real estate. This is the new leg in the retirement planning stool. And bottom line, home equity is at record levels. And home equity can be used as an asset as part of your overall retirement plan. I talked to a number of individuals who have either their homes are paid for, or they owe very little on their home. They have a very small mortgage, and the equity could be $300,000, $500,000, $750,000. That is an asset that you can turn into an income stream. And the simplest way to do it, or to consider doing it, is with a reverse mortgage. Okay? So it is definitely an asset that can be integrated into your overall retirement plan. Now, some of the factors that affected the financial crisis and the home crisis back in 2007 and 2008 are listed here, but bottom line, none of these factors are really applying in today's environment. Okay? So, moving on, inflation. Again, inflation has been ridiculous. At one point last year, overall inflation got as high as 9.1%. As I mentioned, the Fed has been lowering or raising interest rates all year last year. In fact, they raised their short-term funding rate by over 4%. So all interest rates have gone up significantly. And the intent of raising interest rates is essentially to slow the economy down, to slow spending down, which in turn will hopefully slow down price increases. But inflation also has a major impact on fixed income investments. Fixed income investments do poorly in a climate of rising interest rates and inflationary times. So you've got to consider investments that both can provide a good income, i.e. dividend-paying stocks, but also provide you with an opportunity for an asset that will grow over time, which stocks can do. Value stocks definitely grow and provide dividends, and we are a value-oriented retirement firm and an advisory firm. So please, these are things to consider. Fixed income investments just don't do well in inflationary times. And then finally, just talking about avoiding mistakes and getting an investment team. Is the investment advisor that you're working with, do they understand interest rates, your pension plan, and the various benefits that are available to you? We do. We're very, very well versed with all the employers that we work with. Are you working with an investment team? Well, we are a team here at the Retirement Group. We share ideas with one another on a regular basis, and as a team, we're constantly sharing thoughts and suggestions as far as different ideas for our clients to consider when they invest for their future. Excuse me. What value does that advisor offer to you and your family? We offer a lot of value. We get paid by investing client assets, but we can add value, and I like to say estate planning, insurance planning, and tax planning, providing you guidance on your healthcare programs, all these sorts of things. All of those come along with the income or the fees that we charge. And again, that's the elephant in the room. We also don't work for free. We do charge a very reasonable fee on our clients' retirement portfolios. So that's how we get paid. But all the value adds that we offer come along with that. And then finally, does your advisor offer you a comprehensive, detailed financial plan? We do. And do they update that plan on a regular basis? Again, we do. We are here to help guide you from the beginning all the way through retirement. And we'd look forward to that opportunity. So, do you have a plan? A lot of Americans don't. Definitely reach out to us here at the Retirement Group. We'd be happy to put one of those together for you. You could schedule a meeting with myself or one of my colleagues by scanning the QR code here on the left. You could go again to our LinkedIn page on the right, get a lot of good information there. You could send us an email at info@theretirementgroup.com. Call our office at 1-800-900-5867 and talk to one of the advisors there. So again, a lot of great ideas, a lot of things to talk about. Again, we just touched on some of the high points, but I do want to get into, I see we have some questions here, so let me go ahead and start with the questions. Okay, our first question. I am a legacy employee at my company, and they offer me a lump sum payout. Do interest rates affect me too? Great question. The answer is, in most cases, yes, interest rates going up do lower lump sum values. Not in all cases. Like at AT&T, there are cash balance plans where interest rates do not have a negative impact on the lump sum values. But in most cases, rising interest rates do reduce lump sum values. It is, really thinking about it in a general case, reach out to the office. Depending on who you work with, we can get a lot more specific as to what interest rates affect your pension payouts and the timing on those interest rates. So please, definitely reach out to our office, so we'd be happy to talk to you. Another great question. Can my pension be adjusted by my company to account for inflation? I have been with my company for 26 years and my lump sum option is grandfathered. Okay, we've got a double question here. Can my pension be adjusted by my company to account for inflation? Well, in most cases, most employer plans do not have a cost of living built in. So your pension is a fixed amount. And that fixed amount will stay with you for the rest of your retirement, which could be 20 or 30 years. So you have to consider what you've done for yourself, as well as what your Social Security will do, but your pension will not go up. And the second part of the question, I have been with my company for 26 years and my lump sum option is grandfathered. Well, that is true. For the most part, older individuals, more tenured individuals, that lump sum option is grandfathered. They cannot take it away. And in many cases, newer employees do have a pension, but there is no lump sum option available to them. It is just in the form of some sort of monthly annuity. Okay, our next question. My coworker left in order to lock in a lower rate. Can you explain why this makes sense for a grandfathered employee? Well, I talked a lot about this during the presentation. Those lower rates equated to larger lump sums. And those grandfathered employees had the opportunity to take that larger lump sum if they were fully service pension eligible. So in many cases, it made a lot of sense, considering we saw people that could have lost, waiting from last year to 2023, $200,000, $300,000, and $400,000 in their lump sum. So that's why it could make sense. Next question. I read an article about using my pension to buy an annuity rather than taking an annuity from my company. Can you tell me if this makes sense? This is a great question. We call this concept pension maximization. And essentially, you have several different annuity options available to you. The largest monthly income typically comes as a single life annuity, which is an annuity that is just paid to you. Now, there are a number of what we call joint and survivor options and joint and period certain options that offer a reduced benefit to you to provide some kind of benefit to either your spouse or other beneficiaries like your children. And I stress the word reduced. These reduced monthly benefits could be 20-30% reductions in a single life annuity. So a simple example would be, let's say the difference between a single life annuity and a joint and 100% survivor benefit for your spouse is $500 a month. Pension maximization is a way of looking at taking the single life annuity with the additional $500 a month and then essentially self-insuring a survivor benefit for your spouse by buying your own life insurance at a reduced cost, and therefore getting a tax-free death benefit which can be invested in your spouse's own annuity and more than likely provide them with a larger monthly benefit than the survivor benefit they would have gotten from the employer plan. This is unique. We look at it on a case-by-case basis. Just remember pension maximization, and we'd love to talk to you about it. Another great question here. I have heard that some employees at my company may not have a lump sum and only get an annuity. Why is this? I mentioned this a little earlier. Older, more tenured employees, let's say 25 to 30 years, in many cases had both a lump sum and an annuity option. Younger, newer employees with yet less years of service may still have a pension, but it only comes in the form of an annuity. And that is just essentially, many employers either froze their lump sum option or just outright eliminated it, but did not freeze their pension plan. So I hope that answers that question. What tax differences are there for a lump sum versus an annuity? This is a great question. An annuity is going to be taxed as ordinary income. You're going to pay federal and state income taxes and possibly city income taxes on it, depending on what state you live in. The lump sum traditionally is taken and rolled over into an IRA, so it is not subject to any taxes. It basically stays tax deferred. The withdrawals that you would take from that lump sum, which has gone into an IRA, would be subject to state and both federal and state income taxes, just like the annuity, but only at the rate that you choose to take it out. One thing I want to point out is if you're not 59 and a half, we need to set up special ways to get money from an IRA for you. And we also talk about what we call post-55 tax treatment on a 401k. I don't want to get into it in too much depth, but even if you're 55 years old, we have ways to get you money in retirement. It is subject to tax, but it is not subject to the penalty. And then finally, I heard that an RMD age is changing, and that is true. If I am age 72, do I need to take a distribution this year or next year? It's a great question. Well, you may be 72 and you may have to take a distribution this year. They just passed Secure Act 2.0, so you may also get to wait until you're 73, and depending how old you are now, all the way to age 75. But if you're 72 now and you have to take a distribution, you can take it this year, or you have a one-time exemption and you could defer it into next year. Keeping in mind that if you wait until next year, you're going to take two distributions, one for this year and one for next year. So you got to keep that in mind from a tax perspective. A lot of great questions. I appreciate all of them, and I appreciate everyone's time today. Hopefully this was enjoyable and educational. I want to thank you. Have a great day. Stay safe. And